There are some chocolates in the world which are looking not too nice, but the taste of them is extremely fine. And there are similar things among the vehicles. Some of them are not looking good or nice, but the using of them is a great thing. And just typical example for this is the Spanish brand's Rieju's Nuuk Tracker motorbike, which is an all-electric motorbike. The looking of it is minimum shocking or disturbing for the first sight, but the using of it is simply genius. The real specialty of the Nuuk Tracker is that it doesn't want to seem a normal motorbike, so it doesn't want to have the silhouette of the normal combustion engines motorbikes with a fuel tank and things like this. It's absolutely looking totally different, but the basic things from which a motorbike becomes a motorbike and is possible to ride them as a motorbike are all included. So front and rear wheel 17-inch. Normal motorbike tires. In the front we have a 100 and in the rear a 130 mm wide tire. Normal suspension, good brakes, so it's a good thing to ride with it. It has a long enough wheelbase. But in the middle section is totally empty and the whole bike is looking absolutely different. Only thing I don't really understand that on this Tracker model why were put these winter scooter tires. Here in Hungary at the moment we have 30-some degrees in shadow, and I'm not in the shadow now, so I don't really understand why they are good. These are winter scooter tires. In mud they were acting pretty well. Let's start with the technical part, because the whole engine and everything in the rear section is absolutely different what we are used to among motorbikes. The Nuuk Tracker has an electric motor inside the frame. It's just a little bit in front of the rear wheel, no gearbox, nothing else, and it's driving the rear wheel with a chain, and the ratio is extremely big, as you can see clearly. And it has two different engine types. One of them is a 4 kilowatt one, but luckily this is the stronger Nuuk Tracker. Its maximum power output is 10.5 kilowatts, but what is much more important, that the maximum torque of the engine is 245 Newton meter. Of course, because of the ratio, it's not acting on the rear wheel, but anyhow, the acceleration and the rideability of the bike is absolutely good because of this high torque, which is acting from nearly 0 RPM up to the maximum. Let's speak about the fuel of the Nuuk Tracker, which is electric power. The batteries are inside the frame here on this low part, so they are put really low, and they are in two openable parts. I just try to open it, and here are the batteries, one in this side and the other is on the other side. Both of them are 50 watt-hour capacity, and on this way the maximum distance or range of the tracker is something around maximum 150 kilometers with the lower power usage. And if you use it on the boost mode, which is the most powerful mode, we will speak about the modes later, then it is of course much less, so you can kill it under 60 kilometers as well. And there is another version of this bike, the cargo version, which has here inside of the rear seat, it has a big box and two side cases beside the two sides of the bike, and into them they are putting two same batteries than now we have, and on that way the maximum range can go up to 300 kilometers inside the city, which is much more than nothing, so it's a great thing, I think, at nowadays. The dashboard of a modern electric motorbike from the 21st century is of course a full digital one. It is showing in the beginning that I have to pull one of the brakes and change the mode button, and then it goes to ready to drive mode, which means that if I pull the pot meter, which is in the place of the throttle, then immediately starts to roll the rear brake. It has 3 modes, riding modes. One of them is go, this is the weakest, cruise is 1 stronger, and boost is the strongest one. And in the other direction we have a neutral one, and 2 crawl modes, which means that we can reverse with the bike or go to the front, but very slowly, so it cannot jump under you. And we will check in real life how the normal riding modes are acting. And we have a speedometer, and on the side we can see if we are using or regenerating the batteries, how the battery is and what is our range. And in the left corner we have a board computer which is showing the overall distance, the trip, it has only 1 trip, the tripping time, the average speed, and we have to learn a new dimension. The consumption is in watt-hour per kilometer. This is different than our normal gasoline consumption, and that's all we have. So we have under the neutral these 2 crawl possibilities. In reverse mode, if I pull a whole throttle, then it goes back only with this amount of speed, and in the crawling forwards it's going into the front, but again very small, so it is not surprising. Instead of pushing to the front and to the rear, it's a much easier and comfortable way. And let's start with the go system, which is the let's say slower or weaker normal public road riding possibility. So the go mode is enough for the everyday normal city riding. It has an acceleration approximately like 125 cubic centimeter normal scooter or anything like this, so it can normally move the bike, and it has approximately 65 to 70 kilometers per hour top speed with my 100 kilos. If you need more power, then you simply have to change the mode to cruise, which is really very easy, because while riding without moving the throttle, you just change to cruise and the bike starts to accelerate much better. And if you change to boost, then it really starts surprisingly fast, so you are immediately over 70-80 kilometers per hour, and you can easily go up to 110, which is the top speed. Of course, in boost mode it has, as you can see, only 71 kilometers range, although it's 97% full battery. In cruise it's 79, and in go mode it's 95 kilometers. But if you are riding normally inside the city in go and cruise mode, mainly in go mode, as I so far found out, 95% of the city miles or kilometers, the go mode is absolutely enough, and then you can really ride easily over 100 or even 150 kilometers. Speaking about the seat position, first let's start with the foot peg, because it's constructed on a pretty interesting way. It's on a small iron keeper part, and it can be put up, as you can see from that rear possibility, to a rear and a fronter place. I got the Nuuk Tracker already as it was put on in the front part, and I didn't even change it because its position, the foot position, is extremely good. High and wide handlebar, extremely front positioned foot pegs, wide and comfortable seat, so it's extremely comfortable even for my little bit oversized body. Maybe the only problem is that as there is nothing among your or between your legs, you cannot really keep yourself, your body, while making, for example, an emergency braking. Maximum if you put your knee protectors on the frame, but this is not the most comfortable and best solution, so this is a small problem, but otherwise it's really absolutely comfortable. And one more thing, that the rear seat can be lifted up with this carabiner on a vertical position, and if you put it like this, although I have my rain suit here in the coat and it's not the best, but you can feel it like a king. As I already mentioned at the beginning of the review, that the whole suspension is really a high quality thing. In the front we can find 2 telescopic forks, upside down ones, and this golden outside tube, it really makes great looking for it. The inside tube is 41mm diameter, so a good and thick one, and it's really working well, so the damping is absolutely good. One small mistake, that the travel of it is only 90mm, it could be a little bit longer. Of course, on this way shorter riders reach the tarmac very well from the seat, but for me, who is tall, personally I would need at approximately the double of it, which I would like very much. And the brake is also a really good one. We have a single disc but a big one, and the 4-piston caliper without ABS. This is maybe a small problem nowadays. In the rear section we can find only one suspension unit, but it's not in the center, as from the left side of the bike you can see that where is the electric engine itself, so there is no place for a central suspension unit, so that's why it's put on the left side. But it's a single one, and the travel of it is again 90 millimeters, which is just as in the front, I think a little bit less than it would be perfect. I would need the double of it, and then it would be a softer and much better acting whole suspension. This is not uncomfortable, the whole Rieju Nuuk Tracker, but it's a little bit too hard. So for me, a little bit softer suspension would be very nice. And in the rear we have a single disc brake with 1-piston caliper, but it's important to know that we have a generator brake. So when we are closing the throttle or the potmeter and turning it a little bit to the front, then the engine is working as a generator and putting electricity back to the batteries, and also slowing the vehicle, so we can really reduce the usage of the normal brakes pretty much. The batteries can be charged on 2 different ways. One of them is that if you take both of them out, or all the 4 of them out, and take them up to your apartment, then you can recharge them there as well. And if you are lucky enough to park beside the normal 220 volt socket, then you can open a small door here and pull out this electric line, and you can charge the whole motorbike with a simple movement. If it is absolutely out of electric power, then the recharging takes 4.5 hours, but you can change the charging mode on the dashboard as well while charging, so you have a quicker mode. But of course the battery is liking the standard mode much better, which takes 4.5 hours, I have already mentioned. So all in all, we can say that the Rieju Nuuk Tracker is a very interesting interpretation of the future of the motorbikes, which is not the future, which is the present, because it is not wanting to be a normal motorbike. It doesn't want to copy the combustion engine's motorbike. It wants to be an electric motorbike with totally new thinking. And all in all, the usability of it is absolutely good. So with this one, to use to ride every day inside a big city or among smaller cities and things like this, it's absolutely good. So you can use this bike as a normal motorbike. If it is fitting to your life and riding style, then you can be really a happy rider with this one. If you liked our review, please push a thumb up for it. In the description under the film you can find the link where you can donate our work. If you do it, then first of all we thank it to you very much, and second of all we will send you all of our reviews much before their publicity, immediately when they are ready. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe for our channel and watch our previous videos and reviews as well. Thank you very much for your attention.